Hey everybody, so I guess CDPR decided to talk about some of their ambitions for Cyberpunk 2. I'm just gonna keep calling it Cyberpunk 2 instead of Cyberpunk 2077 2 because that just rolls right off the tongue now, doesn't it? But anyway, so we got CDPR talk about their ambitions, then we also got a new job posting that seems to indicate the perspective we're gonna be going through, and it seems like we're gonna be going for the first person again. So which kind of makes sense, but we'll get to that later on, so stay tuned. Anyway, let's get started. The players have enjoyed the night scene a lot in Cyberpunk, and now CPR has all set the bar high for the possible sequel of the game. Obviously, codenamed Project Orion, and currently, through the job includes what could be the most realistic and reactive cross system in gaming history. Ooh, that's a tall building. That's tall because they gotta compete with Rockstar on that one, and you all know who Rockstar. GTA. Come on, GTA 6. That's gonna be like the biggest game of the year, easily. When that drops, easily. And knowing how Rockstar is with their attention to detail, CPR is gonna have they're gonna have some big competition with that. But anyway, continuing. A job posting for Elite Encounter Design exposes CPR's desire to create NPC crowds that respond dynamically. This role entails working with the systems design team to create immersive experiences that accommodate a variety of playstyles. Consider crowded streets where every passerby adjusts to your preference whether you're sneaking, fighting, or simply vibing. While 2077's crowds were amazing, Project Orion intends to set new standards for realism and engagement. I'll give my take on that comment later. Another hint, first person perspective confirmed. Another hint that suggests the first person perspective is a job posting by a senior gameplay animator on LinkedIn. They are seeking expert in an immersive first person view model animation. It suggests that CPR will look forward to the first person perspective for the sequel. Again, this makes sense. Coming off of Cyberpunk, so it kind of makes sense they would go through. It would be a leap forward. There is some speculation about Witcher 4, but it seems that game will follow its traditional third person. That would be jarring as hell for Witcher to go the first person route. Fans looking for a third person option may be at a lock, while CPR has not formally ruled it out. With Phantom Liberty cementing the franchise first person focus, this decision seems like a natural progression. And finally, Project Orion, announced in 2022, is being constructed on Unreal Engine 5, and the team is now in the quote-unquote conceptual design as of mid last year. They have bolstered its ranks with talent from Ubisoft, Massive, Blizzard, BioWare, and Insomniac Games, indicating ambitious goals. The studio pledged to unleash the full power potential of the Cyberpunk universe, but story and settings remain unknown. And we're not going to find that out for a long time, as the game is in pre-production. Now, let's go into my take. The first person perspective, again, makes perfect sense. Considering how Cyberpunk 2077 was, makes perfect sense for them to go the first person route. I, I don't think anybody should be surprised that the sequel would be first person again. I'd be surprised if it wasn't. They were gonna go third person. I mean, then again, the Cyberpunk 2067 itself was gonna be third person at one point, but after the change in management during development, it obviously went into a first person perspective. I do think that some elements of Cyberpunk would be way more beneficial from a third person perspective, such as, seeing your character and whatnot, outside of just driving a vehicle and whatnot. So I would prefer that the option would be there for the sequel to implement a third person's perspective, kind of like how recently released Avowed did, and obviously Bethesda Game Studios RPGs do. So I'd say that'd be a beneficial if CDPR were to go that route and include a third person mode for those who want it. I would definitely, for elements of third person, I would definitely use it for certain aspects, but I would see switch back and forth. For comments like a buildings, I probably would use first person because I think that's just how better first person is benefited Cyberpunk. But again, though, kind of time will tell. Now the whole reactive crowd thing, how people thought that comment by the article said that Cyberpunk's crowds were amazing. I'm disagreeing with that one, especially when the game first released. I mean, y'all remember how bad the police system worked when the game first released? Yeah, I don't know about that one, Chief. Ooh, that's one I cannot agree with at all on that one. I say that's a pretty bad take. Not gonna lie there, because, yeah. And let's hopefully that CDPR actually kind of learned from Cyberpunk's bad launch. I mean, don't get me wrong, they still made a fantastic game. Don't get me wrong, especially with Phantom Liberty is quite possibly one of the best expansions to a single player game of all time. Like, it was just that damn good. That damn good. So, yeah. Cyberpunk 2, whenever it comes out, whatever they're going to call it, it's going to be pretty interesting to see how they approach the story in the setting because with how Cyberpunk ended, I don't know what they're going to do because in so many endings, it was like, it was determined that V was going to die, I know there was like that new ending with Phantom Liberty that was like very controversial, like where you essentially lose everything, but you're cured and your V gets to live, but it costs them everything. So I don't know what they're gonna do. I mean, the sequel could be like a prequel or something. I don't know, but or it could take like many years past where V is obviously gone. And they just you kind of play as a new character or something like that. There's so many possibilities in the Cyberpunk universe that for a direction for CDPR to take. And who's to say that it's not even in Night City? For all we know, it might not even be. I mean, time will tell. Who knows what CDPR is up to? With when it comes what they got planned. But I guess time will tell. We're not going to be hearing about this game until way after Witcher 4 is released, and who knows when that game is. Who the heck knows, but I mean, and we know that game recently just entered full development, so that's obviously CPR's main focus, but that doesn't mean that Cyberpunk is obviously going to be on the wayside because they made a whole new development studio in Boston to do Cyberpunk development, while, obviously over, CPR's home country, which is Poland, they do, the Witcher series. They're obviously also working on a brand new IP, but that's obviously going to be that's like the pretty much way far future. At this point, I would not. Cyberpunk 2 is most likely a PS6 slash next Xbox game, obviously. Witcher 4, I'm hesitant. I mean, that could be cross gen, not gonna lie. I could see that. Where Cyberpunk 2 maybe come at the end of that new console generation. Kind of insane that we're even talking about, even entertaining the idea of that because it's so far out. You know what I mean? It's so far in the future. So I guess time will tell when we start hearing more about Cyberpunk 2. I guess we're going to be relying on job postings and such and financial reports about whatever new updates we're going to get on Cyberpunk 2. Unless they do like another update to 2077. Which, I mean, they brought in an outside studio to do the last Cyberpunk update. So, I mean, they could be doing that to kind of keep Cyberpunk fans, excited for, like, new quote-unquote content. While the sequel is, like, so far away into the future. But, very interesting stuff about Cyberpunk 2077 too. Again, I just kind of ruled out my own rule. Anyway, but, yeah, what do you guys think of this interesting report about Cyberpunk 2? I'm definitely intrigued by how this is going to play out because, yeah. So, if you want to keep hearing news about Cyberpunk 2, as soon as they come, I'll try to get a video out about it as much as I can. So consider hitting that subscribe button. We're going to be talking about Cyberpunk 2 in the far future, especially as we start hearing more once the hype cycle really kicks in. And how many years that's going to end up being. But, yeah, that's all I got to say for this one. I will see you on the next one. Till then, have a good one.